Oh, hey, welcome to Bytesector. Today, we promised to talk about our upcoming mega massive computer build. And this right here in front of me is nearly everything we need to put together a kick-ass system. And we're going to talk about it on the other side of the intro. So to give you a bit of background, we wanted to build a really kick-butt system. And we went out and bought a case in the summer. Over here, the Corsair Obsidian 1000D, because we didn't want to build just one kick-butt system. We wanted to build two. And we've got an amazing loadout for you guys. The purpose of having two systems in one chassis is space, really. That's what it is at the end of the day. And so we're going to build a top tier workstation grade workstation machine to do all of our video and photo editing on, our AI programming, virtualization, all of that kind of stuff. And then on the other side of the equation, we want to have a top tier gaming PC to play all of the games that we know and love and just want to dive deeper into. So what does that involve? Well, first off, Workstation PC. It's going to be the full EATX motherboard build. We're going to be running the AMD Ryzen 9 7950X 16-core beast of a multi-threaded processor. Love that. That's going to be powered by ASUS's X670E Extreme motherboard. ROG, it's as high as you can go in the X670E from ASUS. Killer. At the front here, where is it? Up front, we've got 64 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro DDR5 5600 megahertz memory. You know what? It's AMD Expo compatible. We went with 5600 because we can overclock. I'm old school. I come from a culture of buying less than you can or buying what you can afford and overclocking to make up the difference from what you want and can afford. So that's what we're hoping to do there. What else do we got? Our graphics card. In the workstation, our graphics card is not, I repeat, not the latest generation. We're going with an EVGA RTX 3070 XC3 Black. And the reasons for that are twofold. One, we had this on hand. We didn't need to go out and acquire it. And two, it is a workstation PC. The GPU is going to be primarily for accelerating our video and photo editing and any GPU activities and tasks that we throw at it. Ultimately, it's got a respectable amount of CUDA cores and clock speed to deal with that. What else? Our primary SSD, our C drive, our OS drive, is going to be a Samsung 980 Pro 2 terabyte because we're going to load up some of the other NVMe slots on the motherboard with a variety of other drives. So you see we've got a Sabrent Rocket Q 2 terabyte QLC SSD, which is going to host most of our virtual machines because we're not likely to fill up the 2 terabytes. The QLC memory won't be really a hindrance. We've got a Samsung 970 EVO Plus 1 terabyte. That's going to probably be one of our scratch disks. And we've got, I think it's a Seagate FireCuda 510, 1 terabyte as well, which will also be either a scratch disk or other miscellaneous storage. I think that's primarily on the component side of things, what we're going to be doing. We'll cover some of these other EK products in a moment. On the gaming PC side, and this is where I'm just mind blown. It had to be a mini ITX board. That's our second system. So I either could make a mini ITX our workstation PC or a gaming PC. I opted to make the gaming PC the mini ITX board. We'll get to that in a moment. Lots of Corsair stuff here. Power supply, our mini ITX is a Corsair SF 750 power supply. It is 80 plus, what is it? Saw this yesterday. 80 plus platinum, high efficiency power supply, tiny, tiny, tiny form factor. I pulled this out of the box once. I was just blown away at how small an SFX power supply actually is. But that does not compare to our motherboard. Before I even talk processor, before I talk memory, we are again going with ASUS. We're going with ASUS's ROG Z790i motherboard. I cannot believe how small a mini ITX motherboard is. I get why there is a niche market on these mini ITX builds because they're just so freaking cute. So it's 6.7 by 6.7 inches, incredibly small. We'll get to the details of this in a moment. Powering that motherboard is going to be Intel's latest 13900K 24 core processor. That's right. 24 cores, mini ITX board. You'll see up here, we've got another Corsair RGB or Vengeance RGB Pro 64 gig kit. It's 5200 megahertz. Again, looking to overclock some of the speed out of that. And it's Intel XMP compatible. Our C drive or OS drive is going to again be a 980 Pro from Samsung, 2 terabyte. And because this motherboard only supports 2 NVMe slots, having consumed one with the 980 Pro, we went with Western Digital's WD Black SN850X 4 terabyte drive to serve as our game drive. And that's just a beast of storage. I have a half decent game library. I've pushed it past the 2 terabyte mark. I have not even hit 3 terabytes yet. So I think that's got some longevity in it. I'm very happy with that. Powering this gaming PC, this black box that you can't see very much of here at the front, an RTX 4080 Founders Edition from NVIDIA. It's a beast of a card. And now we're going to start to talk the rest of these components. You might be wondering, well, isn't that a triple slot cooler card? And the answer is absolutely. It's a beast of a card. And the problem you might be thinking of is, doesn't the 1000D have only 2 PCIe slots for that vertical PCIe card that you can stick into a mini ITX board? And the answer is absolutely. You're bang on correct. So how's it going to fit? Well, the answer is quite simple. We are custom loop cooling both systems. That means we're putting water blocks on both the AMD and Intel CPUs, both the 4080 and the 3070. And we've got a crap ton of cooling capacity to make it all happen. So we've got our EK water blocks at the front for the AM5 and the LGA 1700 sockets respectively. We've got 2 massive pumps. We went with DDC pumps. Obviously RGB, I mean, we're going full RGB on this case anyways. And now we've got our radiators, or radiators, whatever you want to call them. Radiators is what I call them. We've got a 420 mil rad here. That's going to go in the top of our case over there. That is going to be powered by these Corsair QL140 fans to cool it off. And then at the back here, we have 2 full 480 mil rads that are going to go at the front of the case here, also being powered by QL120 fans from Corsair. Love the RGB on them. That's why we're kind of going with it. And because there are other elements to this build that are already iQ powered, I didn't want to diversify my RGB software so that I have 2 or 3 RGB software packages installed on my systems. Separately, not on the table right now, we've got a 240 mil rad from EK as well. That's going to go in the back of the case where we can fit dual 120 fans. Haven't figured out exactly which system is going to get the 420 mil rad and which system is getting the 240. Each system is getting one of these 480s dedicated to it. I suspect we're going to throw the 420 rad in with the Intel builds and the 240 with the AMD build, just because the GPU is not going to throw off as much heat. And not as much heat comes out of the integrated heat spreader in the 7950X. What else? Again, we've got our, some RGB controllers lying around here. Some came in the fan packs that are 3 packs. Cryo fuel from EK. We've gone with the fire orange cryo fuel for the AMD build. Didn't want to go red, couldn't go green. Thought the orange would contrast really nicely with EK's Azure Blue cryo fuel for the Intel build. So really, we're going to get some really nice contrast and pop with that. We're going to coordinate our RGB lighting to go along with that. I think it's going to look smashing. So with that, the only other components here that aren't on this table today, we are going to power our AMD system with an EVGA 1600 watt 80 plus titanium power supply. Bit overkill, but it's what we've got on hand. It's highly efficient. Why not use it, right? And the other component that is missing from our build, it is the one component holding up this build. Well, there are two components actually, but one's more critical than the other, is EK still has not released the RTX 4080 Founders Edition Waterblock. It's a problem. It's a big problem. Can't finish the gaming build without it. Can't really pipe the entire water cooling without the final water cooling components. So that's one. The other thing is CableMod has a wonderful 90-degree adapter for the 16-pin ATX3 GPU power spec. And I think that would be perfect since it's going to be a vertical GPU mount. That 90-degree pin is going to come up and go back, and then I'm going to have that cable go right back into the back plate of the case. I think it's going to look lovely. There will be no bends anywhere close to the connector, and it'll help assure a solid connection between the power cable and the card and the connector on the card. So we're waiting for CableMod to release that. That was supposed to be an early December release. Here we are, what is it, December 14th? Still no news. And EK was supposed to release and start shipping the 4080 water blocks early December. It is now scheduled shipping January 3rd-ish. So that's pushed back a month. That's our build. These are the components. Everything is, resting on two pieces to the puzzle, both centered around the RTX 4080. And that brings me to a question. So before I get to the question, please, guys, girls, don't forget to hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we release a video, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're even on LinkedIn for some reason. I mean, why? I don't know, but we're there. The question. And I'm going to pose this question to you guys here on the video. You can leave comments in the section below, but I'm also going to post it on Twitter, on our Twitter feed, and hopefully get some feedback there too. The question is, I originally slated this to be a 3-episode series. Episode 1 being covering the components, episode 2 being installing all the components in the case, episode 3 being installing all the liquid cooling and bleeding the loops. That was the plan. And that plan could still go ahead if you guys tell me that's what you want me to do. But that plan means delaying the build until we get the water block from EK. Option 2. I have all of the components, both on the hardware and liquid cooling side, to fully deploy the AMD system. So I could do a 4-episode series. We've done episode 1 here today in front of you. Episode 2 could be deploying all of the hardware into the case except the RTX 4080. And episode 3 could be installing all of the AMD liquid cooling components and bleeding that loop and installing all of the Intel liquid cooling components except for the piping and waiting on the final components there, the RTX 4080 components, because we can't even stick the card in with the air cooler. It just physically won't fit. And so we can get the AMD system powered up. We can get the Intel system about 95% of the way there. And then episode 4 would be finalizing the Intel gaming system, bleeding that loop, and bringing you guys the final build. So let me know in the comments below whether you want me to do a 3-episode series or a 4-episode series. 4 means I can bring you content much sooner, and we can all start drooling over what's actually being put together here. Obviously, beyond the 3 or 4 episode structure, we are going to bring you benchmarks for a lot of these pieces of the puzzle, both processors, memory, SSDs, reviews of the motherboards. We want to bring, this is a huge opportunity to talk hardware with you guys, and that's exactly what I love doing. So leave your comments below. Like the video if you like what we've talked about. Like the video if you like the components we're putting into the system. If you have a suggestion on something I should be changing here, comment section. Talk to me. I will respond. I love responding to your comments. I want to wish you guys a great day. Thank you very much for tuning in. I cannot wait to bring you episode 2, whatever that ends up looking like. Again, we're going to put a poll on Twitter as well to ask, our Twitter followers and the Twitter community. Let us know what you think, and we will build it the way you tell us to. In the meantime, you have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.